Let's wait. I think you're missing a couple of slides before. Could you go back? Perfect. Welcome to Polkadot Decoded Berlin 2022, everyone. This is officially the biggest Decoded yet, and we are so happy to have you all take part in it this year. Now, this is not just the biggest, this one is also the first one you can attend in person, right? And I think everybody here can feel really lucky for a moment because we had over 1,600 people on the wait list for this venue alone, not to speak for the ones in New York. And as I was told, in Buenos Aires, it wasn't so much of an issue because the venue is so large, it could probably fit half the city. Now, I was asked to show you a little bit what Decoded has to offer to you this year in numbers. Now, Polkadot person, we are also streaming to, I believe, 109 countries all over the globe. I was told we're streaming from Sudan to Spain, from South Korea to Brazil. And I believe this is a testament to show the multitude of our community. Now, this year, all talks were submitted to be voted on by the community. And in the end, over 80,000 votes were being casted by the community. About. And in total, this year, Decoded has to offer over 100 talks, over 50 live demos, and last but not least, over 20 community events. Now, I think this is time to really say a big thank you to the entire community and all those that have stepped up to make this event great, particularly looking at all the side events, some other venues like New York, where the community really has stepped in and is trying to provide everyone here a great experience. Now, one thing I would ask you is when you experience the next couple of days, really use the opportunity at the end or during the event, right, to speak to organizers, find some people that you think are involved in the event, and give them some feedback and share with them what highlights you particularly liked. I think that always goes a very long way. Now, for the remainder of my presentation, right, I want to take the time and walk you through some of the stats that I believe may give you a sense of where our community has gotten, where our ecosystem, the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystems, have gotten over the past year since the last Decoded took place last May, I believe. And I would like to start by looking at particularly how and what has made it easier, what are these things that have made it easier, how Polkadot have become easier to be built with and more powerful to build with. Now, over the past 12 months, right, we've seen the number of APIs, tools, services available to those building on Polkadot with Polkadot almost double, right? And these are really the bolts and nuts, your toolkit, right, that just make it more comfortable, more easy, faster to build with Polkadot. And I think this is really crucial and of time, and we've gotten to, I believe, 125 of these components and services that we track are available in the marketplace today to you if you're building. Now, to name a couple of them, right, that come to my mind, they're OpenBrush, there's OpenBrush. It's a smart contract library for Polkadot on Rust/Ink. It's a great tool, check it out. Another one that comes to my mind is, besides all the other great bridges that have been delivered over the past year, Snowfork has delivered with Snowbridge the first fully trustless bridge between Polkadot and Ethereum, and it's currently being tested between Rococo and Robston. Beyond APIs, tools, and services, we tracked the number of unique pallets that are deployed across Polkadot, Kusama, and all its parachains. And today we see 325 unique of these unique components. Now, for those of you that are maybe a little bit new to Polkadot, right? Pallets are really these composable modules that together build your blockchain's runtime. So to say, the business logic of your blockchain. And this number rose over the last 12 months to 325. Now, as it hasn't been particularly easy, right, to discover these different modules that really make your life a lot easier when you start building, right? I'm extremely excited to announce today that we have just launched a tool that's called Substrate Marketplace. Now, how should you think about Substrate Marketplace, right? It's not really a traditional marketplace in the sense of you go there and buy something, right? Today, first and foremost, it's a discovery tool, right? It is a website that lets you find those components that are available and being used today. The marketplace is divided generally in 3 sections, right? You have runtimes. You will find runtimes. Today, I think there are more than 100 indexed already. You'll find pallets, right? These composable runtime modules. And you will find projects there. Now, if you wonder how we go about that and how you may be able to, have your components and these things you build being shown there and be discoverable by the community, well, with regard to pallets, all you need to do is push your pallet, your module, to crates.io. For those of you that don't know, crates.io is the crate registry of the Rust community. Runtimes, again, are sourced from GitHub directly, so from the team's GitHub repositories via a GraphQL API. Now, particularly when you're starting off building your chain with Substrate for Polkadot, for Kusama, or even independent and Solar, right? I would really recommend you having a browse through it, right? Like, it may really save you a lot of time by recognizing that there are certain capabilities already being provided by code that other people have written that you don't have to put the work in anymore. Now, what can you see when you look at a pallet? Let's take an example. You go on the website and you say, like, I'm interested in finding, modules and pallets that help me manage assets, right? Create assets and manage them. Then you have a category. You go on the assets. You find all these modules that may be applicable to you. You can go in, then dive in them, and see some very relevant information, I believe. Number one, what does it do, right? What is it there for? How do you install it? How may you integrate it into your runtime? You will see relevant GitHub statistics, right? How many stars does it have? How many contributors, open issues, PRs, and so forth, right? You can also recognize, for example, the license that's attached to it that may be very relevant to you depending on what you're building. Last but not least, and I think that's a very crucial one, it gives you an idea of by what runtimes and projects this pallet, this component that you're looking at, is being used today, and may give you an idea of the future-proofness of it, right? Will it be maintained and so forth? And in some cases, we even got to a place where you can see a dependency graph of pallets. How do they relate to each other? Do they depend on each other, and so forth? Now, you can find the marketplace under marketplace.substrate.io. Stay tuned. There are definitely more features coming. I'm particularly excited about hoping that at some point we will get the ability to show all the magnitude of tools, APIs, and services that are available as well, and how they relate to these different runtime components that you may have integrated in your chain. But again, right, check it out and provide feedback if you wish. Now, let's look at how many chains have been built with Substrate and been deployed. How many production networks do we see today out there? I think given the tremendous amount of activity that we see in our ecosystem, right, it's often very easy to forget that parachains have only landed on Polkadot just 6 months ago, right? And nonetheless, we see today 21 production parachains being hosted by Polkadot. And I do believe that's a testament to its value proposition of shared security, which no other blockchain platform today has to offer. Given its early mover advantage, right, that Kusama had, it launched, roughly a year earlier. It's obviously that it still has a head start, and we see 36 parachains being deployed today there. And beyond that, we at Parity are currently tracking over 25 production networks that are live that haven't joined the shared security of Polkadot or Kusama yet, but I'm very confident that a majority of them will eventually join these relay chains. Now, this only shows you those networks, production networks that are being live today. There are, beyond that, hundreds of chains in development that we are having a close eye on and are excited to see what comes out of them. Now, this is what that looks like on Kusama. And this is what that looks like on Polkadot. And again, I already think this is a testament to Polkadot and Kusama's strengths, right? Competitive advantages, right? I'm particularly excited about something that has landed quite recently. And that is the ability for those chains to finally talk to each other and thus benefit from each other. Now, cross-chain composability is what we call that, right? That is what has finally arrived. And with the advent of XCM, XCMP, HRMP, all these acronyms that basically just say these parachains can finally interact and talk to each other, right? They are able to not just exchange assets, right? Move a token from chain A to B. They can exchange arbitrary messages. And that really, really paves the way for finally, we may see true multi-chain applications, not just dumb copy-paste deployments of logic that was copied from one EVM-based chain to another and then call it multi-chain deployment. No, you use comparative strengths of one chain and the other chains and combine this logic to create a very compelling offering. But overall, Polkadot and Kusama haven't just become easier and more powerful to build with. They've also become more decentralized and secure. Looking at our proof-of-stake system, right, and its participants, we've seen a year-over-year increase of 100% on Polkadot and 35% on Kusama, and gotten to a total number of nominators on Polkadot to over 29,000, as well as on Kusama, which is at roughly 7,700. Further, the total number of substrate-based nodes that are running out there in the wild has increased year over year by 150%, and now we're looking at a number at, and this is really the lowest case scenario, right? That what we can definitely observe of those nodes running out, and why we are looking at a number of 20,000. And, as many of you, are aware and see and observe every day, Polkadot and Kusama is steadily evolving. And their respective treasuries, the on-chain treasuries on Polkadot and Kusama, play a very important role in that progress, in my opinion. If we look at the year-over-year increase of those treasury proposals that have been approved over the last year, we see a 100% increase on Polkadot and 64% increase on Kusama. Now, that brings us to a total of almost, what is that, 240 proposals that have been approved across Polkadot and Kusama. And I think it makes sense to combine these numbers because most of these proposals that have been funded benefit both ecosystems. Now, why has that number gone up? Well, our community is growing clearly, but I think part of it is also that the mandate of the treasury has broadened over time. While it started off with being primarily code development focused, right? Funding those kind of proposals that propose building a piece of technology with code. It's not gone to a place where I think proposals are welcome from research, over development, over education, to onboarding. Very, very broad spectrum. And I highly encourage everyone here to have a look and consider applying for funding from the treasury. Now, likewise, but even more impressive, so the total spending of these treasury has increased significantly. On Polkadot, we've seen a 10-fold increase year over year in terms of spending to a total of, I think, up to date, 1.4 million DOT has been, paid out to those that worked on their proposals that had been approved. While on Kusama, we had more modest growth, basically doubled to 128K KSM that were paid out. Now, if any of you is now concerned, 10-fold increase, right? Is there any money left, right? Can we still engage with it? You shall not be worried. To make it crystal clear, the treasury has consistently, since its inception, burned more of its fund that it's been able to spend on approved proposals. So, you do everyone a favor coming forward with a really good proposal, getting funding, and thereby strengthening our ecosystems. Now, those of you worried, today we see still over 30 million DOT being in the treasury, and again, since it's funded in part by fees, by slashes, by inflation, this number is going to continue to grow, and there's more than enough space for every and all of your ideas. Symbols likewise on Kusama. Now, but that's only part of it, right? Part of it why Polkadot and Kusama progresses, right? So obviously, most importantly, also a lot of those that contribute code to the core repositories, the core protocol code repositories of Polkadot and Kusama. And to date, we've seen over 500 unique contributors that have contributed code to these repositories. And I'm eternally grateful for that. And I'm very excited to see that number rising, some folks to become even more active, and us in trying to make it easier for people to contribute and more joyful. Now, the other side of the coin besides humans of obviously the technology for Polkadot and Kusama to be able to evolve and progress, right? And I think one thing that everybody has always been aware of and particularly excited about has been the ability for Polkadot and Kusama to upgrade forklessly, right? On-chain governance, self-aware blockchain in that, meta protocol in that sense. Now, on Polkadot, we've to date seen an impressive 38 upgrades, right? That haven't led to a fork. On Kusama, it's been 63. And even more mind-blowingly, across all the substrate chains out there that we are tracking or aware of, where we have a direct API to access, we've seen 621 forkless upgrades. Now, if we look at the number of active developers in our ecosystem, many of you will be familiar with these developer reports that are coming out. Electric Capital is doing one that seems decent, right? And I'm super proud to be able to state for all of us that we are by far now the largest developer ecosystem across all Web3 platforms behind Ethereum by a large margin, right? And that cannot just be seen by looking at GitHub and looking at those that provide commits to all these repositories that are tagged with Polkadot, are related to Polkadot, right? Be it Substrate, be it the Polkadot core repository, be it all your ecosystem teams' project repositories. We can also see it based on the number of repositories that are tagged with Polkadot, which is, I believe the last number that I saw was 6,000 repositories on GitHub are tagged and related to Polkadot. And that is, I think, double as much as the next one. Ethereum put aside. Now, last but not least, I want to chat very briefly about the events that we've seen, some of the events that we've seen in our ecosystems over the past year. All right? So there's been the kickoff of the Polkadot Global Hackathon series last year. And we started off with APAC, right? Asia Pacific region. Tremendous success. I think we had over 1,200 registered hackers, and we ended up with 24 quality submissions. That was October last year. Then as well in October, we had the Sub-Zero, our Substrate Developer Conference, right, where we saw 5,000 registered participants, as well as 3,400 live attendees. We had the Polkadot Dev Camp, right, which is really a Substrate-focused online coding bootcamp. It was really just a trial for us, but it was a great success. We had 20 participants, but on these 20 seats, we had, again, over 1,000 applicants. So we want to make sure next time we really ramp up that program to give everyone a chance to participate, those that want. And last but not least, we saw 100% completion rate. So everyone who attended really went through it full and delivered in the end. Now, similarly, and what I'm particularly proud of is Amsterdam, right? The community came together, made a proposal, and kicked ass in Amsterdam. Like, many people that I've spoke to said, like, this was an incredible event that was put together in Amsterdam, where the community came together and flourished. And I think I can speak for everyone who is excited to see more of that. Last but not least, there's been the Polkadot Hacker House. It's also a trial. It's, I believe, happening at this minute or just concluded. It happened in New York City, where we tried to bring a few hundred people together over six days and really dive into Polkadot, Kusama, Substrate, and hack together and have fun together. I want to leave it with that for today, right? I think everybody can be very proud of themselves for having contributed to that and being part of that, right? I think we can all only achieve greatness here if we work together and push that forward together. And I invite you all to use that opportunity here to chat and create more synergy. Thank you very much.
Cool.